everyone and welcome back to another video. We have a mukbang. We have just been to the gym, hence the gym wear. We are actually matching in gym wear apart from this shirt. Jack is wearing green on the top, I'm wearing green on the bottom, I'm wearing cream on the top and Jack's wearing cream on the bottom. We're a cute couple, what can we say? Anyway, we are doing mukbang with Nando's. We are sick of the places that we can eat at round here. Nando's is the only place that we wanted to go, so we're doing a Nando's.
And even then, it's alright, we are getting a bit.
Yeah, the Nando's around us is shocking. We ordered the food to pick up at 2, it was ready at 20 past. Not very good. Anyway, we are doing a Q&A with a small amount of questions.
Yeah.
I put it on my Instagram with an anonymous link, so these questions are all anonymous, which is fancy.
But even though there's not many of them, we usually spend 10 minutes talking about each of them.
That's true. The last mukbang that we filmed, when I put all the questions in, we could do that question that we skipped about Ellie Darby.
Oh, right, okay.
We could do that one.
Okay.
That ended up being like an hour and 10 and I had to cut questions out of it. So we do just chat on for ages. We'll do today's questions and then I'll see if we get on to talking about Ellie Darby. Because somebody asked that last time. I'll have to find that question. Right, let me get the thing up. Because I asked it on that NGL app thing. Someone's asked the question about Ellie Darby. Anyway, right. So, first one. Right. We're going to start with the most asked question. Because I've had multiple questions on this over different
time periods.
Instances. And it's, are you hoping to buy a house soon? So the answer is no.
Sorry.
We are not interested in buying a house at all at this moment in time because there are multiple reasons for this. One, we can't afford it. We spent all of our savings on buying the caravan. Somebody asked the questions of why did you buy the caravan instead of a house in the anonymous link that I always put in my description box. And we bought that because it was a business investment and that's what we care about. With buying a house, for us, right now, it just feels like it would be a waste of money and we wanted to try and put money into something that we'd get money back from. It hasn't happened because...
It will happen.
It will happen. It will happen. But Hedge Hope, which is the van, isn't bringing in any profit still. It hasn't at any point. Well, you think technically the first year it brought in a profit, but if you include investors' loans, it didn't anywhere close to it. And we've not made a profit. Are we on year 3 now? It's March. It's March, we're coming up to the end of year 2.
Yeah.
We haven't made a profit. And with the cost of living crisis, and this has turned into a headshot question, I'll get onto it in a second. With the cost of living crisis, it doesn't look like we're going to be making a profit in year 3 either. But it was intended to be like, we'll put some money into this now, quite a lot of money, and then we'll get some money back out of it.
And don't get us wrong, we're not making a massive loss.
This year I think we are.
No, we're not. We're breaking about even this year. Like, we're breaking practically exactly even this past year.
Really? I don't think so. We need to look at that, but...
Yeah, but like, so we're not making a massive loss, but it's not what we intended.
But that wasn't the question. So we don't have any money.
No. We're saving for a few things, so...
Well, we're not, but we are.
We are, but like, we're not specifically, we don't have different savings accounts set up for different things or anything like that, but should we list them?
Hang on, so we have, I wouldn't say we're saving for a few things right now. We have, I just pushed my septum. Yeah.
Why?
Oh, break it out.
What do you use that for?
Oh. I full on whacked it with me knuckle. Oh no, my mascara. Anyway, right. Oh, bloody hell. My eyes. My nose is running. So, we're not saving, I wouldn't say, but we have things that we know we want to spend the money on.
Yeah.
But before we talk about that and things that we're saving for, I think we should talk about the other reason that we don't want to buy a house. And there is the possibility that we want to move abroad. And this is the same, this centres around a lot of conversations of different things. Things like getting a cat, I am desperate for a cat, getting another dog, buying a house, buying other things like that. I have always wanted to move abroad for a little amount of time or a long amount of time, depending on how much we enjoy it. I always wanted to end up in New Zealand or Australia. That was where I thought I'd end up once we had the money to go there. I'm not allowed to move there anymore because I'm autistic, so we can't go there, but I still have it in my head that I would like to move abroad at some point in my life, even if it's just for a year or I don't know, a little bit longer. I'm not saying I 100% know I want to end up in a different country, but I want to go abroad and live there for a long extended period of time, I think. I'm not saying 100% that's what I want to do, especially when we're looking into what you need to do to move to another country, because we started looking at Canada and Jesus Christ, but it doesn't make sense to buy a house when we might have to sell the house to move somewhere else. I mean, obviously, like I said, we don't have the money, which is the biggest reason, but there's that as well. There's also what Jack was saying, where if we decided that we didn't want to move abroad, we want to stay in England, Scotland, wherever, and then we got the money, there, like what Jack says, is there are multiple things that we want to spend the money on before buying a house for ourselves. Do you want to go through? Because you obviously had something in your head, and I'll say if I've missed any.
More business ventures, engagement, wedding.
Yeah. That's the thing, because if we wanted to buy a house, we're not paying for a wedding anytime soon.
No, yeah. And it's the type of thing with us as a couple where it's not the type of thing where it's it's down to me to pay for the engagement. It's our money. We
I don't bring anything in.
Yeah, but even so, it's not like a fully on me to save. It is the kind of thing where we're saving for a wedding that we want, and we're saving for an engagement that we want.
I feel like some people assume that we don't want to get married because we've been together so long and we aren't engaged. Because we've been together 12 years in July.
No, 13 years in July.
No, we got it wrong. We keep getting it wrong. It's 12 years in July.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's 12 years in July, and obviously we're old enough, well, correct age to get engaged now. So I think some people just be like, oh, well, they mustn't want to get married. We do, but we want to be able to have the wedding that we want. So it's not a case of we don't want to get engaged yet. We don't want to get engaged yet. It's not the right time. No, it's just because we can't afford a wedding. And Jack hates the idea of a long engagement. You don't like it, do you? So it's the type of thing of, well, we'll get engaged when we can afford a wedding. So there's a wedding, more business ventures, like Jack said. Also, was that everything you thought of?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We also have in our head that if we buy a property, it's not going to be for us for a long time. We think that the first house that we buy will be a doer-upper. I am desperate to do a doer-upper. I'm desperate. My thing to do, I really want to do is buy a old fixer-upper house that needs work to it. I don't want to just take somebody's house like unnecessarily and then sell it on. But I want to take a house that needs work and then sell it and then keep going. I understand that property is a bit of like a immoral industry.
Yeah.
We used to want to do renting, but we've understood now that that's not okay. So I'd quite like to do it where it's like no one's going to put money into this house to just buy it.
Whereas I'm on a different spectrum where the thing I really want to do is to build from the ground up.
Yeah, exactly. That was going to be my next point. Where I think that we'll do that until we've got enough money to build our own house. Because since we met, we both wanted to build our own house. We're obsessed with it. We absolutely love the idea of it. We love watching grand designs. We'll watch TikToks on it all the time. We love the idea of building a house. And we're not saying that we'll only build a house when we can build this absolutely insane one. Jack's desperate to try and build a house for like 50k.
Yeah. I was actually, when I was waiting for this food, I haven't told you this yet, but when I was waiting for the food, I was actually looking at land. And like the cost of land and stuff like that.
It's a thing, land's expensive. But the short answer is, no, we are not saving for a house. The plan is to make a decision about moving abroad first, because that's going to set off a lot of different conversations. Oh. Are you bothered about marriage / civil partnership? Okay, we've just answered 2 questions in one. So, yes, we are. I keep saying to Jack, I'd quite like us to get married in secret now, because I don't like that legally we do have some connection because we're a common law partner. Is that right? Because we've lived.
Because we're cohabitees.
Yeah, because we've lived together for over 6 months. We do have some, but I've said this before. I'm not sure if I've said it on YouTube. But I'm not Jack's next of kin, and he's not mine. So if anything happened to us in other countries, because obviously we travel quite a lot, or certain situations in the UK, we wouldn't be able to make decisions about each other, or like I wouldn't say, because this is where I saw this example mostly, is if we were abroad and we went to the hospital and something happened where only next of kin could be there, I wouldn't be allowed in to see Jack. And the people that we would be allowed in, we wouldn't want them in, we'd want each other in. So I want to get married in secret now, but you're not keen. That's not in a way of being like, he's not letting me. I'm fine with it not happening, but I am a bit worried about that. Yeah, but you speak for a bit about marriage, because it feels like this is a very stereotypical situation where the woman's just like, this is how I feel about marriage, ignore him, he will do it when I tell him to. No,
I agree with all. It's all those points where I've even thought about things like changing my next of kin legally and stuff like that, but that seems more of a faff than getting married, so that's that type of thing where, so we are thinking about it constantly, but it's just money.
It's just money, and because
we don't want to just go away to somewhere and just do it cheap.
That was going to be my next point, because we have had loads of people just being like, oh, just elope, just do it yourself. We're not about that. We want, because we've been together so long, nothing changes. We're not like, nothing's going to change for us when we get married, and it's not like a big deal in our head because of obviously the patriarchic thing around it and all that kind of stuff. It's not like a big deal. It is legally, which is why we do want to do it eventually, but we want it to be like a celebration of us and how long we've been together and things like that, rather than just like we're just doing it to get married. We want it to be a celebration of us. So going away and just doing it yourself just doesn't feel right. We want people there. We want to celebrate with people. We freaking love weddings, and it's definitely going to be a type of thing where it's not stereotypical at all. I'm going to have to fight Jack to be able to plan some of this wedding when we get married, because he is so excited about it. Like, Jack is so like aesthetic oriented. Like, it's not going to be like a me doing it all. It will 100% be like a dual thing. And we're both really excited for the prospect of planning a wedding. I know it's stressful, but we're both excited about that. Oh, and also, we are going to try and make it like as anti-patriarchy as we can. So it'll not have any of the stuff that we don't want in. If we don't want to do a first dance, we're not doing a first dance. No one will be giving me away. I'll be giving myself away. That's even a thing. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to take Jack's last name. We're thinking, well, we are. We're going to come up with a new last name and have that, because I'm not taking anyone's name. The thing is, I like the idea of people keeping their own names, but I don't like my name, so I think we are so excited about making our own name. We already have a list of names.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are bothered and we are excited for it, but we just need to make some money. So everybody subscribe and keep watching my videos, please. I'm sorry, this feels like stereotypical where I'm just like, shh, don't talk about wedding, don't talk about house.
It's okay.
We are already stereotypical enough in our relationship, so okay, this is a question for me. So I'm gonna have to talk all the time again. This next question, I freaking love it. Whoever asked this question, awesome question. And it's, does autism for you affect your spicy life? I love this question. I can't wait to answer it. I'm gonna answer it right now. So, yes. And I know I talk about this all the time, but this interweaves with my ADHD. I will try and separate them out, but it's very hard to. So, with autism, I struggle with initiating and understanding when Jack's initiating. I think you struggle with that anyway though, don't you? Not in an autistic way, but you struggle with that anyway. So initiation has taken us a very long time to get into like the right groove with each other for it. Sensory stuff. So, and this does interplay with my ADHD. So I can't have the lights on I hate, if I have the lights on, I'm not getting into it. Like, it's not happening, don't like it, I'll just not be able to feel anything. And that one, I think, is one of the hardest ones that I've had to come to terms with, because obviously it's such a trope in media where it's like, if the lights are off, you don't really want to see your partner, you're not attracted to them, you don't love them. That doesn't apply for me. I literally, if there's a light bulb in my face, I'm not thinking about anything apart from, get me the hell away from this freaking light. That, I know that trope probably is rubbish for everyone, but for neurodivergent people, it's rubbish. If you need the lights off, get the lights off. And other sensory stuff,
it's not like with a light thing, it's not like we can't see each other, because we always have a low light. It's not like...
No, we've started turning the light off properly recently.
Yeah, but we can it's not like we're in like a black room with no windows type of thing. Like, there is still some residual light.
Yeah, we're on a main road. The street lights come in. You're right, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Not just like knocking heads and stuff. Routine. I hate being anywhere not in the bedroom. Like, you've been keen a few times to be like down here, haven't you? And I'm like, no. I'm comfortable on the bed. I'm not comfortable in here. Did we try at New Year and start in here and end up in the bedroom?
Yeah, we did. And I hope you don't mind us saying this, but it's not just the room, it's the position as well.
Yeah, I've got to start in the same position.
And we tend to just stay in the same position, don't we? It works, kind of thing.
Right, we're going to have to explain that. Because otherwise it's going to sound really boring. I mentioned this, this video won't have gone live actually, that I've talked about this, so I mentioned it in a vlog that I've already filmed, but you guys won't have seen that yet. So I'm going to come on and talk about it in a different vlog, but I can't deal with penetration at all. I can't, like, it's really, really, really painful, so we don't do penetration. Because if we were doing penetration, you're like, we just don't move. It's awful. But we don't have penetrative sex, so with the type of sex that we have, or spicy life, the type of spicy life that we have, we do tend to just stay in the same position, but we're comfy, it's not boring. And it is something I'm trying to work on so we can get back to penetrative, because we both do quite like it. It's obviously not the pain with me, but hopefully we can...
It's just getting into it, isn't it? That's
well,
a hardest bit,
yeah. But anyway, yeah, Jack's right, we do stay in the same position. I like to start in the same position, otherwise I can't get my head into it correctly. And then with my ADHD, it's kind of like I've got to really, 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 really concentrate to get into it. I'll link a person in the description box. I think she's called Katiosaurus. She talks about ADHD and spicy life a lot, and it's really, really interesting. Like, people with ADHD tend to get into kink more because it helps us like get in the zone better, because there's more sensory stuff to focus on, whereas with just like typical sex, you kind of have to focus as someone with a vulva to get into it more, whereas with kink, obviously there's loads of different things to kind of help you get into that zone. We don't do kink, but it might be something that helps me in the future. But yeah, it affects it so much, and I think it's one of those things where I've had to come to terms with it, because I used to just kind of force myself and just be like, why can't I do this? Why isn't this happening the way that everybody says that it happens? But I've had to be like, oh, well no, I literally have a disorder that's making this not typical.
Might be worth doing a video that dedicates to that.
Yeah, maybe.
Just specifically with you,
talking about
neurodivergency.
Yeah, that Katiosaurus talks about it a lot. But I don't know if I've seen anyone talk about autism and sex. Next one. If you could travel anywhere, where would it be if you had an unlimited budget? P.S. Love your channel. Thank you so much. Honestly, when people put stuff like that, you have no idea how much it means to me. I fucking love it. It means the world, so thank you so much. I love this question. So do you want to go first so I can have a chance to eat?
Yeah, for me it would be...
And, should we guess each other's?
Yeah, go on then.
Banff.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my two, yeah.
Banff.
Yeah. Can you think of the other one for me? I like New Zealand.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, if there's no budget. Because I think that's...
Yeah, no budget.
I think that's the biggest blocker for stuff like that. Like, if there is a budget, And you asked the question of where would you travel to now? Like, where would you go? Where would your favourite place to travel to now? I'd probably say Spain, because it's within Europe, it's short flights, it's cheap flights. But when you say no budget, that opens it up to like the other corners of the world. And I've almost kind of chosen two of the furthest away places from where we currently live to do that.
Do you want to talk about why Banff in New Zealand?
So
sorry, I've just changed the battery, so I'm trying to get comfortable again.
So why Banff in Canada? I don't know. I just like it's beautiful.
I just like it.
It's always the type of thing where like it's always you see all the TikToks and all that.
Yeah.
In that park, and it does look so beautiful. But I like the size of Canada and America in terms of the size of countries. There's so much to do. There's so much.
You like it?
I quite like it. Like when I was looking, because
how about me?
I looked a few, maybe a couple of years ago now, at us going for like a trip away.
We were still living in Holywell.
Yeah, so I looked at it, and although it wasn't that expensive in the way that I planned it, I planned that we get a flight to an airport in Toronto and then drive across, but that takes like 2 days or something like that. So that's kind of, although it is a bit scary, it's a draw, because it's like, you know, we can spend
road trip. We love road trip.
Yeah,
we love a road trip.
But we could spend like 3 hours in the UK driving from where we are to the west coast of the UK, and we'd be there dead quick, wouldn't we? 2 or 3 hours.
From where we are, I think it would only take 2.
Whereas I like the idea of longer road trips across the country and seeing different parts of it. The only downside of it really is that although it's a bit warmer, it's not that much warmer.
Apparently, people keep telling me it's not, because I keep telling people about how I want to live in Australia and I want to live somewhere warm, and people keep saying Canada, and then I'm like, but I wanted somewhere warm, and they're like, no, it can get really, really warm there. It's like, they're like the polar, so it gets really, really cold in the winter, but then really, really warm in the summer, apparently. That's what people I've had like loads of people say that to me as well.
In New Zealand, for the same reasons, I like the culture. It just seems a really nice place to live, really beautiful place to live.
Visit
or live really, but
what, let me in?
Yeah.
Right, would you want to guess mine?
Yeah, New Zealand.
I thought of 4 places.
Oh, right, okay.
2 of them are the same as yours.
Canada, then.
Canada and New Zealand. The other one should be easy. One of them should be easy.
Italy?
No. Oh, Italy. No. If we had no budget.
Switzerland?
Oh, that's a good shout, but no. I just want to go everywhere. Should I just tell you?
Yeah.
Australia.
Oh, yeah.
And the Maldives.
Yeah.
Oh!
So you can't really go there either.
What's all? Look at that!
Oh.
Oh my god, what the heck? Yeah, Australia, New Zealand, the Maldives, or where was it? French Polynesia that I keep seeing on TikTok. Those types of vibes where it's like tropical. Or Dominican. Oh no, see, there's so many places. I'd love to go to St. Lucia.
Make a list of places you don't want to go.
No, I can't. But if I had to pick one, it would be Australia or New Zealand. Like I say, I always thought I'd end up there. It's always been in my I love the lifestyle there. I think like the connection to the outdoors is just something else, and obviously you have the weather to have the connection to the outdoors, because we were saying this literally like yesterday. We talk about it a lot where we want to, when we build our own house, we want to have that connection to the outdoors, but in the UK it would have to be like planned and set up so that we can go outdoors in any weather. And even then though, I think about like running errands and stuff, and when I see like Australians, they can just walk down the street. Obviously I know it gets cold in winter, but I just love how it's warmer and they have that like carefree vibe kind of thing. And I know I'm autistic, so I can't ever be like carefree like that, but I just feel like I'd fit in better. And New Zealand obviously has that as well, and it's absolutely stunning. Like, it's so freaking beautiful. It's so freaking beautiful. But if we're on no budget, I'd be flying there first class, because I'm terrified of flying. Stop over at Singapore, because I'd love to see that airport. I really, really want to see Singapore Airport at some point because it's absolutely insane. That's the one that has like the nets thing. And, looks incredible. And then fly over to Australia. I'll get there eventually. We'll go. Right, should we get on to this controversial one? So the way this is phrased, I think last time it was, do you think people should still watch Ellie Derby? I think it was phrased like that. Do you think influencers that say bad things / do dodgy things should be able to carry on influencing, i.e. James Charles, Ellie Derby, Lydia Millen? I don't know who Lydia Millen is. I know James Charles and Ellie Derby. James Charles talked to underage boys. And obviously you know about Ellie Derby because I used to watch her. Right, I'm going to have to put my food down because it's a whole conversation. Do you want to say anything before I go off?
No.
So I think it depends on what they've done. So James Charles, obviously talking to underage boys, that's not okay. He needs to stop creating content. Or, right, this is such a big conversation. Right, let's go on Ellie Derby because I know more about Ellie Derby. James Charles could have done other stuff that I wouldn't have even known about. The only thing that I know about is that, is James Charles the one who was no, it's Jeffree Star. Frick. I've gone through so many different frames of mind with Ellie Derby because obviously you guys, if you've been around for a while, you'll know I used to watch her. She was like my favourite channel to watch before she had a kid, mainly, because I'm not really big into kid content. This is also another part of it. I don't think you should show your kids online. I know I watch James and Karis, but I don't think you should show your kids online. James and Karis are literally the only thing that I consume that have kids in. Even when I'm on TikTok, I'm like, nah, I'm not watching it. But Ellie Derby, I enjoyed her content. The thing is, right, so with what she did, if you don't know, she tweeted when she was 18 a lot of bad stuff, being fatphobic, xenophobic.
Racist.
Was it racist or was it xenophobic?
It's racist.
Racist. And like, she said stuff about poor people as well, didn't she? And then there was also clips of her videos where she was talking about smelly foreign men and stuff like that, which is just disgusting. So, with stuff like that, where it's happened in the past, and this, right, to stop talking about Ellie Derby for a second, with stuff like that where it's been said in the past, before they've started influencing, because this is specific to influencers, so we'll just focus on influencers, before they've started influencing, I think that there should be a chance for redemption and they should be able to still make content. I don't believe in cancel culture. I know, well, there's a big conversation at the minute being like, oh, cancel. I actually don't believe cancel culture is a thing. I think it's people being held accountable. I do believe trolls exist, but I don't think that's just to do with people saying bad stuff and doing bad stuff on the internet. I think everybody gets trolls. Obviously, people who say bad stuff on the internet will get more trolls and threats and things like that, but I don't think that's being cancelled. I think people perceive this being cancelled as when people stop creating content because they've been cancelled. I actually just think that they've been held accountable for what they've done and they've decided to stop creating content because they don't want to deal with the conversation around it. So if anything, I feel like they've made the choice to be cancelled. I hope that makes sense. I'm happy to have a conversation around it, and if I'm not putting it across, hopefully in the comments if someone said anything, I'll explain it better. But I think if you've said stuff in the past and not done stuff in the past, because I think if you've done something, like attacked somebody or done something, I don't know, illegal, things like that, it's different. But if you've said, like Ellie Derby, I think there should be a chance for redemption, but I think you have to take ownership for it and put it on you, rather than putting it on the people that you've hurt, and stop making it about how upset you are and how you didn't mean to do that. I think it needs to be, I've done this, I'm sorry, and then go away and do shit to help. So, going back to Ellie Derby, for the example, she should have said sorry, I know she did that, said sorry. That apology video, there was some stuff in there that she shouldn't have said. She shouldn't have said and made it about her, things like that. Then she should have went away and learnt about everything she could have and how to be anti-racist a better ally to everyone, like everything. Not just focusing on the things that she said, but she should have went away, learned, which she said she did. So when she came back, I watched a few of her videos, but I don't go into her. I don't like the way that she has came back, and I don't think she's done enough. And the thing with her is, when she came back, when this all happened, it made me realise how shitty she'd been with everything else, and I was like, oh my god, like, yeah, it's not okay. Like, I had a conversation with someone in the gym talking about how they made it, like, they told me about her lying about her size on the internet, and I'd never even thought about that, but I wholeheartedly believe that she used to lie about what size clothes she was, because I remember watching her content and she'd be like, oh, size 12, and I'd be like, I'm not the same size as you. How are you fitting into a size 12? Not in terms of like, oh, you're fatter than me, how is this happening? Not like that, just me being like so confused. I think she lied about it.
I mean, I think it's a genetics, isn't it? Like, she's got
wide
hips,
hips. Those hips aren't fitting into a size 10 or size 8 that she used to say. I hated the fact that she used to say boyfriend in the back. So, like, gender normative for assuming that, like, because she's coming from it from this angle, saying that women are only watching her channel and then that they have boyfriends in the back, things like. It's just when that happened, it made me realise that there was so much wrong with her. And then the difference for me is if somebody has been very inclusive and very anti-racist and all that type of thing in that, so say I'm going to be big-headed and say my channel, right? Say I've tried my hardest to always be not stereotyping, anti-racist, sharing stuff that I think needs brought attention on. So say if something came out about me now, saying stuff back then, I would hope that you guys would be like, it's not okay, and obviously I would apologise for that and stuff, but I'd hope you guys would understand I've done the work since tweeting that thing, if that makes sense. Yeah. Whereas a lot of these influencers aren't putting in the work at all to be inclusive, to be progressive, to make sure that they're not perpetuating stereotypes. And then something comes out and then they're like, but I'm not that person anymore, I'm not that person. And it's like, but how are we meant to know that? Because you haven't shown that you're not that person until you've been called out for it. Is that making sense? And then some of them, I think Ellie Darby, when they come back and make it about them again, like, and then don't make it any better.
If you look at her channel now, since it happened, there's maybe 1 or 2 videos here or there that are relevant, but not fully relevant, and the rest just went kind of almost back to normal.
The things that annoyed me the most was her second video back or something was how I got my spark back. Big. Yeah. It shouldn't have been, and I know, because I was going to say it should have been something like how I've helped these communities, and I know some people would be like, but that's performative, that's asking for likes.
Because it's happened.
Yeah, but you need to show that you're doing something for the communities that you've hurt because you have this position online, not because you just need to do it, but you are literally influencing. It's a completely different job. When you are influencing, you need to influence people to be progressive. You need to show, I f***ed up, this is what I've done to make it better, and this is what you should be doing as well. Not just being like, because one of the videos I did watch of her, she said that she's not going to show online what she did to learn and stuff, which I do get, but not when you're an influencer. I feel like when you're an influencer, you have to show how you've made amends, and I don't think she's done that. So I stopped watching her videos on YouTube, and now I haven't followed her on Instagram because she went to Dubai for our baby moon, and it's like,
you just haven't done your research. You
haven't learned anything. Like, the LGBTQ plus community, you shouldn't be going there, and then the migrant community that have like died building stuff, you haven't learned anything.
I think it's fair to say, because it's not just her channel. Connor's involvement there as well.
Oh my god, yeah,
and
Connor.
I mean, he
used the N-word.
He used the N-word as well, which obviously is not okay, and when it all did kick off, she apologised and things like that. She made videos apologising. She apologised in multiple posts, which, was great. But all Connor did was share the same photo with an apology on that had been pre-written.
And I think you're right, when it's not just her channel, that is important.
And he just seems to have not even acknowledged
that
it's all happened, and just it's kind of went back to normal.
So going back to the question, do you think influencers that say bad things / do dodgy things should be able to carry on influencing?
Yes,
it depends on the thing, but I very much am on the fence of people should have a chance. This is just in general, not just influencing. People should have a chance at redemption, forgiveness, to learn things, but influencing is a very different job. It is a job that you are literally influencing people. So I think if they are wanting to carry on posting, they need to be so on top of things and upfront and be like, I really, really messed up, and this is how I know I've messed up. This is what I'm going to do for the community. And I think you need to listen to the community that you've hurt. I don't think, I'm just going to use Ellie Darby because she's the only one that I really know. I don't trust that she's went and had a conversation with some people of colour to be like, what can I do to help?
No.
I think, I saw that she did, feeding homeless stuff in America and stuff like that. That feels performative because it's like, that's not helping you learn. That's great, go feed the homeless. But have you talked to any people of colour? And I think, let's take James Charles he's talked to underage people. He shouldn't be getting money. He shouldn't be getting money anymore. This is the same with actors and stuff. They shouldn't be cast on it anymore, and he shouldn't be being paid by big brands anymore, I don't think. And the same with Ellie Darby. When she came back, I was like, I'll not put any money in to what she's doing. Even when I was okay with it, I was like, I'm not putting money in. I'm not ever buying anything that she links to, things like that. Obviously I watched some of her YouTube videos, so that contributes to ad. But sure, James Charles can keep posting if he wants, but people shouldn't be watching it. And obviously people are going to do, influencers are going to do whatever they think is right, but people need to stand firm with their beliefs, in that if they are very much against children being taken advantage of, stop watching James Charles, because Ellie Darby had people being like, please come back, and it's like, babe, you need to look at what you're consuming.
And that's the thing, that the difference between those two examples is that, Ellie Darby and the things that she did, the things that she said, it was before she started. She didn't, as far as I know anyway, she didn't really continue to that level of, but I think there is a difference there where your views on the world, on different countries and things can change. But when it's something like talking to underage people, that's always, if
it's illegal.
If he's done that, that's his view.
I don't know if James Charles is he or they.
Right, okay. Well,
I'm sorry if their pronouns are wrong.
They've done that, but that's going to be their opinion, regardless of whether it's being called out, regardless of whether they've been told it's wrong, and even if they get put in jail or something like that, or get fines or whatever for what they're doing, that's always going to be their mindset if they've done something like that. Whereas I think your opinions on culture and things like that, and your awareness of on how to teach people, how to treat people, can evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think your views on the legal age of consent and stuff like that, it's harder to.
But you need to, if you have done that learning, like Jack said, you need to not forget about what you've done. You need to be proactive with sharing stuff and helping that community. You can't just forget that you've done it and be like, right, I'm just going to move on and that's it. Nah, man, you're an influencer. You've got to influence people in an opposite way of what you did.
And I think it is a balance, because as Sarah said, there's a level of over performance of showing all these things online. It could look like performative. And I think if you've done something that is like this, then you have to understand that regardless of your actions, even if it's the right path, you're going to lose people. People are going to think that you were performing. People aren't going to believe you're doing it.
Yeah.
Which is
completely up to them.
Yeah.
I think there's another conversation I have around it of being like, don't ever try and convince somebody to watch them again. Like, I feel like some people start to judge people not surrounding them. So being like, oh, why don't you watch her anymore? She's apologised. Never, ever question somebody for deciding to not consume that content anymore.
You know what, the same the other way as well. Don't question someone who wants to consume that content anymore.
I don't know, I would.
Do you think?
If somebody told me they watched Ellie Derby still, I'd question it. I'd not be like, you should not be watching her. But I'd be like, okay, but why do you feel like you can watch her?
And if that person who's watching her still believes that
she didn't do anything wrong.
Our actions, no, not that. I mean, they understand they've done it wrong, but their apology and their actions that they've done to almost redeem themselves, is the word you used, are justified, then okay, but they need to
I'd still have a conversation about it.
That's what I'm saying, you have a conversation, but they need to understand that there's that level of, some people may think she's done enough.
But again, I think it comes back to what I've been saying, where it goes on the actions after. Because with Ellie Derby going to Dubai, sharing fast fashion still, I don't know, Connor not doing anything, launching a podcast and then being like, getting cancelled. Like, I'd be like, like, if somebody told me they'd watch that, who I believe is on the same kind of level as me, where it's like anti-racist, like all that kind of stuff, I'd be like, really? Like, I wouldn't be mean about it, but I'd still be like, oh, okay. But it's about being critical about what you're watching.
Feel free to cut this out if you don't think it's relevant, but we just spoke about this yesterday, which is she's launching this new podcast.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday.
But it's not like it's her and somebody else, or her and a panel of people. It seems like
It
might be, but it seems from what she's posted that it's going to be a podcast of just her talking, which feels like it could easily be very skewed in her view of the world, which if she hasn't learned and she hasn't adopted, that's just going to perpetuate what she's already done and her views on our listeners. And when she does have a lot of young listeners as well.
Yeah, that's the worry. Because I was thinking about that and what I said like a few minutes earlier, of saying like it's up to you and what you want to do with that content. There are people still watching who are like under 16 who won't understand stuff fully, because obviously they're still young, they're still learning.
And if they're learning from...
That's the worry.
Yeah.
That they shouldn't put content out because anyone could just watch it. It's such a hard conversation, but my main themes through it are, I think people deserve forgiveness. Influencing is a completely different kettle of fish though. Say if a friend of mine had these tweets, I'd be like, what the frick have you done? Like, what on earth? And I'd be like, so what is that happening now? And we'd have a discussion about it. I'd make sure our morals aligned. If I didn't think, it's different for me, because with autistic people we have very, very like black and white view, and we're very morally centered. I don't interact with anybody who doesn't align on my values. So,
and I think for a neurotypical person, it may be more along the lines of you limit the relationship you have with that person.
Yeah.
Up until a point
but if you're
where
watching someone's content, you are giving them money essentially.
Yeah.
And that's different. Like, Ellie's apology video was monetized.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been.
No. Yeah. Or it should have been any money that she made from that video was sent to charities that are relevant to the thing she's done.
Which she might have done, but it shouldn't have been monetized. I don't think she should be making money from apologising for being racist. But one thing I would like to say is obviously I am not part of the community that she hurt, mainly. Yeah. So my opinions doesn't matter really. It's about what people of colour or people from other countries think, or fat people. Like, it's completely their conversation to have. But just as a general influencer thing, I think people in general deserve forgiveness and a chance to come back, but not if it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then if you do decide to start making content again, you need to own up for what you've done and be a different person whilst influencing. Does all that make sense?
I think so.
Bloody hell, I talked for ages and I'm worried I haven't got my point across.
And I think I don't know the background of the person that asked this question because they're all anonymous, but I think as well, no matter how much of an ally you are to those communities, like we are, you have to speak to people in that community. You have to, the opinions that matter are the people who have been affected by that kind of thing. So even though we're saying all this, it may be right, it may not be, but the relevant information you'll get is from those communities that are affected by that.
Really good example, right? Hogwarts Legacy. I could not count myself as an ally or a Jewish ally if I played that game, because the trans community and the Jewish community have made it very, very clear that they do not want any money being made from this game. I wouldn't go near it, because those communities have went, this is ridiculous. I mean, I wouldn't need those communities to tell me to know that it's ridiculous, but they've made it very clear you can't consider yourself an ally if you're still consuming that content that the communities have went, please do not play this game. Like, please do not do it. And it's the same with things like this. I don't watch Ellie Darby anymore, and I don't even follow her on Instagram anymore, because I don't feel like I could be an ally to the LGBT community because she's going to Dubai. I don't feel like I'm an ally to people of colour because she's treated racist things. So you've got to make your own judgment on it. But yeah, we've talked freaking ages about that.
And I'd say, just on the last point, don't go and seek out people of colour to speak about these things. There'll be content online on YouTube, on
social platforms. They don't owe you an explanation.
Yeah, but there will be videos out there of people talking about these very specific scenarios.
Go to a charity.
Yeah.
That's what the charities are for. Mm-hmm. Don't just be like, a black follower, I'll talk to her.
Yeah.
No, it's not okay.
Yeah.
I knew I'd talk forever about that. Do you think I'm making my point proper?
I guess you'll find out later.
Anything illegal though, that's not up for debate. They shouldn't be an influencer. Go do a job that you're allowed to do with that illegal stuff in your history, but you shouldn't be an influencer. An influencer is a very influential job. If you've done illegal stuff, you shouldn't be influencing people.
But hey, we've managed to get through this entire conversation without mentioning Andrew Tate, so that's
off if you... Go away if you watch Andrew Tate.
Yeah, let's not get into that though, that's a different topic.
What kind of conversation would that even be around Andrew Tate though?
Well, because he's an influencer and all the rubbishy things he's been...
He's done human trafficking. Yeah. He shouldn't be allowed on the internet. He shouldn't be allowed at profile. He shouldn't be allowed... anyway.
Yeah, I was just my point is we didn't talk about that.
I could talk about him. Nah. But that's, again though, that's a good point, because we, with Andrew Tate, we literally cut off anybody that even followed him.
Yeah. Because it's to that level.
Because he was inciting hatred.
Yeah.
Like, it again, it's one of those things you got to use your judgment for, but he was literally inciting hatred, misogyny, like everything. So we literally checked people who followed him and unfollowed. Like, I won't watch anything Matt Does Fitness anymore because he followed Andrew Tate. I was like, nah, if you're watching that kind of content, I'm alright for it, mate. You're not getting any of my money.
Even if you're not watching it, I mean, that could have been a relationship where he was a boxer, so he met him once and he followed him, but it's the same type of thing.
When it's that kind of stuff, though, nah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to eat my food. I'm going to let you go. This is probably a long-ass video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to leave it a like. If you wanted to ask a question, but didn't get to in chance for this video, there's an anonymous link in my description box that doesn't have a time limit. I can always see them, so I'll include it in the next video. Make sure you follow me on Instagram because I ask those types of questions. Yeah, I'm also using the community tab a lot more to ask people questions, so keep an eye on that. Please like this video, and then maybe we could go to Australia if I get enough subscribers. That would be interesting content. Anyway, I'm just going to stop talking. Do you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Like, comment, subscribe if you are new. Love you. Bye.